Hello and welcome back to the channel, and this time it's a bit of a follow-up to a video that I did a while ago, which was on my CTEK battery charger. I see quite a few people commenting and taking a look at this video over the years, so I thought I would do a bit of a review a couple of years on and let you know how it's getting on. First thing is, it is very cold over here in the UK at the minute, so I'm inside the garage trying to stay warm, and that's why I thought it's about time we had a little bit of a chat about this, which is the CTEK MXS 5.0. It's a 5 amp 12 volt car battery charger. It does actually have a position for bike as well, and this also has the reconditioning function as well as maintaining a battery whilst it's topped up, because something that I find quite often, I take the cars off the road, obviously my Volvo out there, the Duke, the BMW Z3, the batteries aren't always left in the vehicles because that's not good for them. So for example, this one, which did actually come out of the Nissan Duke when I replaced that battery, so this one here is mainly being used for the Volvo 480, but when it's not in use it sits in here. I didn't realise it's actually a genuine battery, and what I do to look after it is I leave it on my CTEK battery charger, because that's one of the functions that this does. It will do a normal battery charge cycle, but afterwards it will just maintain it and make sure that it's kept tip-top condition, because of course these lead acid batteries, the older lead acid batteries, prefer that. And you can see, I'll explain the status of the lights in just a second actually. As you can see at the minute, this battery is all the way up to position 7, which is the green light there, which is float, which basically it will just keep it on that for 10 days and it'll restart the charging sequence if it thinks the battery needs it. What it will actually go is back into the charge cycle, which it'll show the last LED if it needs to. The other positions on there: 1, desulfation, which is where it's trying to recover a battery that's in quite a bad state, to be honest. Number 2, soft start. 3, bulk. 4, absorption. 5, analyze. 6, recondition. 7, float, and 8, pulse. And you can see, because this battery's in good condition, it's sat here and it's just keeping it topped up for me. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to get the multimeter out and I'll show you the voltage the battery's sat at. If we take a look at my battery that's just sat idling, you can see it's at 14 volts, which is what the battery charger is keeping it at to keep it in tip-top condition. Now that is around about the same as if an alternator was putting voltage into it. What you do to charge a battery is you put a higher voltage to get power back into it. So you can see it's at 14 volts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the CTEK and we're going to watch the voltage on the battery drop, and it'll drop down to what the battery has got left in it. Now I'm hoping this battery should drop down to around about 12 volts because it's a healthy, good condition battery. Here we go. That's the CTEK unplugged. Actually, the voltage has stayed a lot higher than I expected. I didn't expect the battery to be holding 13. Let me disconnect the connectors from the CTEK to make sure there's no residual power. Let's connect it back up to the meter. 13 volts. So this battery, I would say, is a lovely healthy battery, and that's good news. So that hopefully is going to start my Volvo 480 successfully quite a few times. So why don't we move on to a battery that hasn't had any love or care? It's the one that's just sat over there and is currently acting as a shelf. Just to point out that This isn't a sponsored video. I didn't get this sent. I've never had one of these sent as a sponsor model or anything like that. I paid for it. I bought it because I thought these seem to be the popular battery chargers now, especially for recovery and keeping batteries topped up. So I thought I'd do that and just let you know. And of course, this is an update to the original video. I'll put a link to the original video in the comments. Let's have a look and see what state this battery's in. I'm not expecting very good news with this battery, to be honest with you, because it's sat here for a while. We've got 11 volts. Now remember, that's 11 volts without any load on it. So a little bit on battery technology, and bear in mind that this is the older lead acid batteries that you still get in cars, none of the new lithium ion and things like that. So the voltage we've got at the moment is the float voltage, which is 11 volts, but this is without any load applied to the battery. When you apply load to the battery, that voltage will drop depending on the state of the battery, and it's a good indicator as to how good a condition the battery is. If it doesn't drop too much, then the battery is generally in good condition. If it drops and continues to drop rapidly, there's a good chance the battery's not in a great state and it's going to struggle starting. Now what I've got here is I've just got a very simple, it's actually an LED floodlight, but it's enough to give a little bit of current, or take a little bit of current out the battery and see what we get. So let's connect it up. Now the light actually came on there, but it turned itself back off again because the voltage dropped too much. So let's see if I can force it to turn this LED floodlight back on again. I don't think it wants to turn it on, which is because it thinks the voltage is too low. So I'm going to go and have a play about with this controller and see if I can force it to turn the LED on, and I'll come back to you. Let's try this again. My mistake was I had it connected to a solar charge controller, which doesn't like low voltage, so it thinks that 11 volts is too low for a battery. But let's force it anyway. Let's connect up my floodlight and watch the voltage. Hopefully you can see the voltage. We're down to, what was that, 9 volts we dropped to. You can see the voltage is dropping. Okay, 10 volts is about what we're at. Remember, this isn't a lot of load I'm putting on it, so I don't think that would be able to start a car. In fact, we're down to 9 volts. I know that wouldn't start a car. So at the minute, this battery isn't in great condition, but it's hopeful. You see the voltage is restoring. We've gone up to 11 volts. We've managed to recover, which gives us a little bit of hope. Why don't we bring the CTEK in and see what it does? We're all connected up, ready to go. You can see the battery voltage is at 11.11. So I'm going to connect the CTEK up, plug it in, and let's see what it does. So you can see it's starting to go through its cycle, through the different phases. Now we're in, we've gone straight through 1, 2, 3, and we're up to bulk. We've gone another one, 4, which is absorption. And you can see the voltage is up to 14 volts, which is what the CTEK is putting through it. Now I'm not sure whether I should have switched the CTEK into reconditioning mode or not, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it running like this and see how the battery gets on and see if we get anywhere with it. Quick update on the current situation. You can see it's still in stage 4. 4 is absorption, and it says it could be up to 8 hours in this stage as it works on the battery. Let's have a look and see what the voltage is at. We're still at 14.7 volts and trying to hold the battery up at that. What I'll do is I'll leave this a bit longer. It's been a few hours since I did the last update. Leave it a bit longer, come back and we'll see if it's making any difference. Well, it's a few hours later and you can see we've gone all the way up to fully charged, or at least the CTEK now is in the state where it thinks it's fully charged. Let's put the meter on and have a look at what voltage we're at. 13.9, which is quite acceptable. Obviously the battery charger is still on it, so what I'm going to do is disconnect it. Let's have a look and see what the voltage drops down to. Hopefully you can see the multimeter value okay. Now I'm not expecting miracles because I know this battery was not in a good state and it's quite cold out here, which is not good conditions. But let's just have a look. Well, it's still at 13.8 volts on the battery with the battery charger disconnected, which is a good sign. Why don't I hook the load up and let's see what happens. Well, here goes. You can see it's been a few minutes, still on 13.8, which is quite encouraging. I'm now going to connect my LED floodlight back up again. There it is, connected up. And actually the voltage is staying quite stable at 13.7, which is really quite encouraging. Now I'm not going to claim, by the way, that's me knocking the wires, if you can see the light coming on and off in the background. Now I'm not going to claim that the CTEK can work miracles, because I think you have to accept that after a certain point a battery will fail and you will need to replace it. But for prolonging it and keeping batteries going that bit longer, and just to give them a helping hand now and again, I'm quite impressed with my CTEK. I know a lot of people have had problems. I do get a lot of comments about the CTEK, manufacturing problems or overheating and things like that. I've got to admit, I have never had problems with the CTEK. This is the MXS 5.0. I think it does a good job and I'm going to continue using it, and I do recommend it actually. So if you do want to give it a go, they're not that expensive as well. I'll put a link to my my Amazon link, affiliates link. If you do buy one, if you don't mind buying it through my Amazon affiliates, that does help me out as well, help me buy more gadgets to try out on the channel. If there's something you want me to try, whether it's car related or not, drop a message down the bottom in the comments or send a message through the website and I'll take a look. But thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think of the CTEK, and I'll see you in the next video.